Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel once again. In this video we are going to discuss a question that came in IIT JEE Advanced 2019. In the question it was asked which of this has a permanent dipole moment. In order to understand this, we need to have a basic idea of VSEPR and how to determine structures using VSEPR theory, because it is the structures finally which is going to decide which one of them is going to have a dipole moment and which one will not. So let us have a brief recap of what VSEPR theory is, and I am going to tell you a few tricks by which you can determine the structures very easily. So let us take some of the molecules given in this case. Let us take POCl3, let us take BCl3. Let's see this. So phosphorus contributes 5 electrons to oxygen is a bivalent atom. So a bivalent atom is definitely going to form a sigma bond and a pi bond. The sigma bond is going to contribute +1 to the total electron count. The pi bond is going to contribute -1 to the total electron count. So since one oxygen is present, I am writing 1 into +1 for the sigma bond, -1 for the pi bond. Now chlorine is a monovalent species, so it is going to contribute, this 3 stands for number of chlorine atoms, so it is going to contribute +1, so we are going to end up with 8. So you divide 8 by 2, you get 4, and so it is sp3 hybridized. sp3 hybridized, that means the structure is going to be tetrahedral. In the same way, if we do BCl3, how many electrons does boron have in its valence shell? 3. Now chlorine is a monovalent species, so it is going to contribute +1. So we are going to write 3 into +1. So a monovalent species is going to contribute +1, and 3 stands for the number of that monovalent species present. Same is the case with divalent one. Divalent one, we write the total number of species outside, total number of atoms outside, that is we have one oxygen atom. Oxygen atom forms one sigma bond and one pi bond, that's why it is +1 and -1. Sigma bond contributes +1 and pi bond contributes -1. So in this case we are going to get 3 plus 3 equal to 6, 6 by 2 is 3, so we are going to get sp2 hybridization. sp2 hybridization means planar trigonal structure like this. The third site has to be occupied by a lone pair. So one of the major questions you have while getting structures from VSEPR is which one is to be selected as the central atom. Remember one rule, and that is going to be helpful in most of the cases. We are going to consider the atom which is the most electropositive one as our central atom. In this case, phosphorus is the most electropositive one among these 3, so we have considered phosphorus. In this case, that's why we have considered boron. There are exceptions as well. Let us look into them. So in case of ammonia, hydrogen is more electropositive as compared to nitrogen, but we are not going to consider hydrogen as the central atom. Instead, we are going to consider nitrogen as our central atom. So in cases where hydrogen is attached, just remember, in cases where hydrogen is attached, we are going to consider the other atom as the central atom. Suppose in case of CHCl3, we actually leave hydrogen and then we consider the electronegativities of the other atoms. So in this case, if we leave hydrogen, we are left with carbon and chlorine. Carbon is more electropositive as compared to chlorine, so carbon is going to be our central atom. So in this case, what is the electron count? Nitrogen is going to contribute +5. There are 3 hydrogens. The hydrogen is a monovalent species, so 3 into +1. We are again going to end up with 8. 8 by 2 is 4. We are going to get sp3 hybridization, and the structure is again going to be tetrahedral. All these structures are tetrahedral structures. All these structures are tetrahedral structures. Now let us see the interesting case of NO2. NO2 is an interesting molecule. So in case of NO2, what happens? What happens in case of NO2? Before understanding NO2, I would like to talk a little bit about NO2 plus and NO2 minus. That way it would be easier for me to make you understand what happens in NO2. If we now start counting the electrons, nitrogen contributes 5, there are 2 oxygens, so we are writing 2 here, plus 1 for the sigma bond, minus 1 for the pi bond. We have to account for this plus charge, we need to do minus 1 here. So we end up with 4, 4 by 2 is 2, that is sp. That is planar. We are going to get a structure somewhat like this. In case of NO2 minus, what happens? The central nitrogen is going to contribute again 5. So 2 for 2 oxygen atoms, plus 1 for the sigma bond, minus 1 for the pi bond. We have to account for the negative charge. So 6 by 2 is 3. 3 is sp2 hybridized. So since this is sp2 hybridized, we are going to get a planar trigonal structure. And the structure is going to look somewhat like this. With a lone pair over nitrogen. Now what happens in NO2? Let us understand what happens in NO2. Let us do the electron count first. So in case of NO2, it is 5 for the central nitrogen. We are going to keep a 2 here because there are 2 oxygen atoms, plus 1 for a sigma bond, minus 1 for a pi bond, and so we are going to get 5. Now 5 divided by 2, you do not get a whole number. This 5 is an odd number. So this is the odd electron species. Remember this. In cases where the total electron count come out to be an odd number and is not divisible by 2, then those species are known as odd electron species. And in case of odd electron species, we cannot determine the structure using VSEPR. VSEPR can only be applied for even molecule species. If the number of electron in a molecule is odd, then VSEPR cannot be applied. So how to understand the structure? Now we will do a logical reasoning in this case. How to do it? You see, NO2 plus has a total electron count of 4 and we get sp hybridization. In this case, NO2 minus, we get sp2 hybridization with this coming as 3. In this case, it is coming as 2.5. So what is the logical reasoning? The logical reasoning is that it is going to be have a hybridization which is something in between sp and sp2. We write it as spn, where n is between 1 and 2. So in between 1 and 2, it is going to be spn hybridized and n is going to be between 1 and 2. So that is how we represent it. Now how to draw the structure? In this case as well, you are going to take a logical reasoning approach. How to do it? So this is linear structure, this is a trigonal planar structure, and it is going to be somewhat in between this linear and trigonal planar. In this case, this bond angle is 180, this bond angle is 120. So it is going to have a bond angle somewhere in between 180 and 120. It is going to have a bond angle somewhere in between 180 and 120. Now how to draw the structure and how to take care of the Lewis dot structure? Let us understand this. Nitrogen has 5 electrons in its valence shell. Since it is an odd electron species, 1 electron has to be present like this because this is the odd electron species. Now oxygen has 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Same here, oxygen will have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now what happens is, in this case, it will form a double bond. So if it forms a double bond, this oxygen will complete its octet. You count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now in this case, single bond will definitely be formed. Now if it forms a double bond, you understand, if it forms a double bond, then the total electron count over nitrogen is going to be 9. How? This double bond will account for 4 electrons, this double bond will account for 4 electrons, and there is 1 electron present over nitrogen. So it is going to be 9 electrons, and this nitrogen is going to violate the octet principle, so we are not going to give a double bond over here. So what to do? We are going to give a coordinate covalent bond over here. If you give a coordinate bond over here, you understand this oxygen has now completed its octet because this 2 has been donated over here. So that is how we do it. In cases where there is a problem with the octet rule and you see that you cannot fulfill the octet rule by giving complete bonds, you need to take help of this dative bonds or coordinate covalent bonds. So this is how NO2 is likely to be. So, and this bond angle should be somewhere in between 120 and 180. Remember this thing. Remember this thing. This is going to be of immense help. The hybridization of NO2 cannot be calculated from VSEPR theory. VSEPR theory applies only for even electron molecules. It is not applicable for an odd electron molecule. Now let us see in this example. So this example, so if we take option number 1, let's see what it comes out to be. So NO2, what we have drawn is a structure like this. NH3 is again tetrahedral. Sorry, NH3 is again tetrahedral. POCl3 is tetrahedral. You do the electron count and you draw the structures by yourself, you will yourself understand. CH3Cl is again going to come out to be tetrahedral. So in these cases, you see there will be a resultant dipole moment in all of the molecules. Why? So firstly, none of these molecules are symmetrical. So what is it? Oxygen is more electronegative. It has to have a dipole moment in this direction. This has to have a dipole moment in this direction, and this has to have a dipole moment in this direction, and none of them is going to cancel each other because the magnitude of dipole moment, because of this lone electron present over nitrogen, is going to act in this direction. And if we are going to consider these two, even if the resultant is in this direction, the magnitude is never going to be the same. In this case as well, there will be a resultant dipole moment because this is drawn in this direction, this is additive in nature, so this ought to have a resultant dipole moment. In this case as well, it is going to be the same. It is going to be the same because the magnitudes are not same, it is not going to cancel each other, and the structures are not symmetrical. If it would have been CCl4, since this is a symmetrical structure, we would end up with a dipole moment of 0. But since this is not symmetrical, we are not going to end up with 0, and this is definitely going to have a permanent dipole moment. So molecules which do not have a definite symmetry definitely has a permanent dipole moment. So option 1 is correct. Now let's go to option 2. In option 2, we have BF3O3, HCF6 and SF6. Now let us look into SF6 first, because if we look into SF6, then it would be clear. So sulfur is going to contribute 6 electrons to the valence electron count. Since fluorine is a monovalent species, it is going to contribute +1. So 6 into +1, we are going to end up with 12. 12 by 2 is 6. So how to draw it? It is going to be a octahedral structure like this, with 4 fluorine atoms in the equatorial plane and 2 fluorine atoms in the axial plane. In this case, you can understand this is a symmetrical structure. The moment arising because of this is being cancelled by the moment arising out of this. Similarly, the moment arising out of this is being cancelled by the moment arising out of this. Same is the case with the axial bonds as well. So this will definitely have a permanent dipole moment of 0. It is not going to have any permanent dipole moment. So option 2 is rejected straight away because of this. But in this case, we are going to discuss a little bit about O3 and HCF6 because this molecule is very important, and there is a problem regarding this molecule. That's why we are going to discuss this structure. So in case of O3, let us understand how to draw the structure of O3. Since there are 3 oxygen atoms present, we are going to consider one of the oxygen atoms as the central atom. So the central oxygen atom is going to contribute +6. Now there are 2 other oxygen atoms. You are going to put 2 here. So one oxygen is divalent, so it is going to be +1 for a sigma bond and -1 for a pi bond. I believe you have understood this. If you haven't, then please let us know in the comment section below. So this is going to be 6, 6 by 2 is 3, 3 is planar trigonal. So we are going to get a structure somewhat like this. If you haven't understood it, then please let us know in the comment section. Now HCF6. This HCF6 is a very interesting molecule. Let's do the electron count first. So xenon is going to contribute 8, Fluorine is a monovalent species, so it is going to contribute +1. 6 into +1 is 6. 8 plus 6 is 14. 14 by 2 is 7. So 7 means pentagonal bipyramidal structure. Pentagonal bipyramidal structure. So we expect the pentagonal bipyramidal structure for XCF6. That is, the structure should look somewhat like this. If we keep the lone pair over here, we need to give all this fluorine, and sorry for my bad drawing skills, but these two fluorine atoms are going to be axial fluorine atoms, and these floor fluorine atoms alongside this lone pair is going to be equatorial. Now the number of problem arises. Firstly, the experimental evidence doesn't show XCF6 to be pentagonal bipyramidal. It shows that XCF6 is actually a octahedral structure, but not a clean octahedral structure. How come? Let me draw this for you. XCF6, experimentally it has been shown that it looks somewhat like this. Then how to take care of the lone pair? Now you can understand there is a face like this. This is a trigonal face. There are numerous faces like this. This is one face, this is one face, this is one face. In the back side there's one face as well. Same is the case with this direction as well. In this case it was suggested that the lone pair is going to reside somewhere like this, is going to extend through one of the faces, and that's why, and that's what is actually going to make this structure a distorted tetrahedral. A distorted tetrahedral. Now, not a tetrahedral, a distorted octahedral structure. Now the question is why this has to go to this octahedral structure from this pentagonal bipyramidal structure. The answer to this lies in the simple fact that in this pentagonal bipyramidal structure there was immense steric repulsion, because this lone pair is a bulk species. With this, all these fluorine atoms was facing immense steric repulsion. So in order to relieve the steric strain, it will prefer going to the octahedral geometry, in which the angles are more. Since the angles are more, it will face a little bit lesser amount of steric strain. That's why in order to avoid that steric strain, it will go into this distorted octahedral structure. So that was what was found out experimentally. So remember this case of XCF6, though you find it out to be pentagonal bipyramidal by using VICPR, it is actually going to be a distorted octahedral structure. But this option is nevertheless correct, because this one is coming out to be 0, so it doesn't have a permanent dipole moment, and so we are going to straight away reject option 2. Now let's come to option 3. Option 3 is pretty easy. If you do it, let's do the easier ones first. BeCl2. How to do BeCl2? Hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium. So beryllium will have 2 electrons in its valence shell. So this chlorine is again a monovalent species, so it will be 2 into +1. So it is going to be 4. 4 by 2 is 2. That is going to be sp hybridized with a linear structure. So it is going to be somewhat like this. In this case as well, since this is a linear structure and a completely symmetrical structure, the moment arising out of this is going to be cancelled by the moment arising out of this. Understand, since this is more electronegative as compared to beryllium, the moment is going to be in this direction only. Same is the case with the previous examples as well. The one which is more electronegative will tend to draw the electrons, and the moment will be in that direction. The dipole moment arising in this direction is going to be cancelled by this, and we are going to end up with a dipole moment of 0. So there is no permanent dipole moment in this case, and we are going to straight away reject option 3 as well. You can do the other examples, you can do the other things as well, such as CO2, BCl3 and CHCl3, but you do not need to do it because the first one itself is 0. but do check it out yourself if you can find the right structures or not. If you are having any problems, then please let us know. Now let's come to the fourth option. In the fourth option, if you see SO2, sulfur is 6, there are the number of oxygen atoms is 2, so 2 plus 1 minus 1, so we are going to end up with 6, 6 by 2 is 3, 3 means trigonal planar structure. So how to draw this structure? This is going to be a trigonal planar structure, somewhat like this. You see, the octet has been completed in this case, the structure. So in this case, now let us come to this C6H5Cl. So this is this molecule. So this will have a permanent dipole moment in this case. In this case as well, it will have a permanent dipole moment because the structure is not symmetrical. In case of H2AC, if you find, then you will, if you look into the structures of this, you will again find that this will have a permanent dipole moment. In this case as well, it will have a permanent dipole moment. So this option is a correct option. Do chalk these options out yourself, and if you find any problem, then please let us know. So option 1 and option 4 are going to be the correct options. These are easy ones, you can do it yourself. If you have any problem, then please let us know. So what I have told is, the molecules which do not have a symmetrical structure will definitely have a permanent dipole moment, whereas molecules having a symmetrical structure will not have a permanent dipole moment, because the moment arising in one direction is going to be cancelled by the moment arising in the opposite direction, exactly by the same atom. So symmetry is not going to give you any dipole moment, and asymmetry is definitely going to give you a dipole moment. Thank you.